Most people think that they have to join a group tour or hire a travel agent to plan their Namibia road trip for them. But guess what? You don't, because I planned my entire Namibia road trip completely by myself. No travel agent, no travel groups, just me, my husband, a 4x4 car with rooftop tent. And in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how I did it so you can feel confident planning your own self-drive journey in Namibia, and we're gonna save some money along the way. If you're new to this channel, hi, I'm Amy, and together with my husband, we travel the world, sharing our adventures right here on this channel. So if that feels like kind of your thing, make sure to subscribe. And if you're watching this video, it probably means you're planning a Namibian road trip pretty soon. And I couldn't be more excited for you. Trust me, it's gonna be an amazing adventure. Okay, the first thing you're gonna need for your Namibia road trip is of course a car. And in Namibia it's pretty common to hire a 4x4 car with a rooftop tent, because the roads you're gonna drive are mainly gonna be gravel and sand, and you're gonna feel way more confident driving those roads in a 4x4. And having that rooftop tent on top of your car is gonna make camping super simple. You just pull into a campsite, pop open your tent, and you're ready for the night. Now, most cars that I saw driving around Namibia are a Toyota Hilux, Land Cruiser, or a Ford Ranger, and they usually come with a 2-person tent or a 4-person tent setup. Now, we in the end went with a Ford Ranger with a 2-person tent, and we hired that car with Savannah and are super happy with it. So I can highly recommend them. But other cars that I saw driving around Namibia were from Asco, Africar, Bushlor, Brits, or Namibia to go, and I'm sure there are many more good ones out there. I found our car just by googling 4x4 car Namibia and got some quotes from different companies, compared, and in the end I ended up with Savannah. And the whole process was super easy. Everything went by email. I just had to fill in some forms, make a deposit payment, and then the car was confirmed. Prices do vary quite a bit, mostly depending on the newness of the vehicle and what kind of equipment it comes with. So my advice would be do some research, get some quotes from different companies, compare the offers before making your final decision. And I think it's really worth taking your time to find that setup that fits your needs, budget, and comfort. Oh, and do check your insurance for the car, because in Namibia, insurance works quite differently than, for example, in places like Europe. And it's very important to check what exactly you're covered for and what not. So please do that. Now that the car is sorted, it's time to plan your route. And I actually started planning my route by just researching where I wanted to go in Namibia. I Google searched, I read a lot of travel blogs, I actually bought this book, Lonely Planet, with all kinds of information about Namibia, and I watched a ton of YouTube videos just to get a feel of the country and where I wanted to go. If you need some extra inspiration, we actually made a top 10 video of places that made us fall in love with Namibia. So do check that video out after this one if you're interested. Once I had an idea of which places I wanted to visit in Namibia, I headed over to Google Maps and I favorited all those places. Now this helped me a lot, because this way I got an overview of the map of Namibia and where all these places I wanted to go to were located. And not only that, you can also check out the distances between those places, so how long the drive would potentially be from one place to another. So you can already start mapping out roughly a route to those places. Now, Namibia is huge, so my biggest tip would be take it slow. If Google Maps says it's a 4-hour drive, just make it a 6-hour drive, because you want to enjoy driving through Namibia. The areas are so beautiful, and I'm sure you're gonna make a lot of pictures along your way. And maybe you see wildlife, or maybe you even get a flat tire and you have to change your tire. That all takes time. and you want to enjoy that journey. Namibia is a stunning country and you don't want to just rush from one place to another. You want to enjoy the journey as well. If you feel like you need a little more extra help planning your route, then we made a video with our ultimate itinerary for Namibia. You can literally steal our planning or just use it as an inspiration for your own route. Okay, we talked about cars, we have a rough idea of our planning. Let's talk accommodation. With a 4x4 and a rooftop tent on top of your car, you're probably gonna be spending your nights at a campsite. And trust me, that experience is exactly what's gonna make this road trip so special. Campsites in Namibia come in all shapes and sizes. You have luxurious campsites where you have private ablutions, a swimming pool, maybe even a restaurant on site, electricity. Then you have more basic campsites where you have shared ablutions, so you share the ablutions with other campers around. Maybe there's no swimming pool and no electricity. And you even have campsites that are super basic, so you have nothing, just your car, your tent and nature all around you. And honestly, all of these options have their own charm. To find campsites, I actually use an app called Overlander, and it's super helpful. It shows you the area where you are and then what kind of campsites are there in the area, and you can just click on the campsite and you get to see photos, reviews and details that other travelers left after they have visited. So it's super up to date. And you really get an idea of what this campsite is like, what are the amenities, do you want to stay here, yes or no. And if you want to stay, normally there is information like a website or a phone number you can call and you can book. Now, if you want to stay on a campsite inside the national park, for example, Etosha or Sossusvlei, you have to go via the NWR. And that stands for Namibian Wildlife Resorts. Luckily, they have a website and it's pretty easy to book your campsite from the website, but you just have to know. So I'm gonna leave that link in the description below for you. Now, here's a tip I kind of wanted to gatekeep, but my all-time favorite campsites in Namibia were always from Gondwana collections. And Gondwana is known for their beautiful lodges in the most amazing locations in Namibia, and sometimes they offer campsites. And what is great is that if you are staying on the campsite, you can also use the facilities from the lodge. So think about the swimming pool and the restaurant, which is really great because you get all of this for a normal campsite price. And finally, a quick tip, book the most popular spots ahead. For example, Etosha or Sossusvlei, because they tend to fill up quite quickly. For the rest of our trip, we actually just showed up at the campsite on the day itself and there was always a spot available for us. But then again, we were traveling in October, November, December, so it was a bit off season. So if you feel like you want to plan everything, that's totally fine. It's worth booking some campsites up front, so go ahead and do that. Now, our next step is activities, and this is gonna sound controversial, but I'm gonna tell you not to book any activity at all up front. I booked all of our activities through our campsite because when you arrive, you're gonna be greeted by local staff that knows the area best. They know exactly what's there to do. They can plan that activity for you, cater to your needs. They're gonna tell you exactly what time it is best to do that activity. So I believe you don't really need to plan any activities up front. But if you feel like you still want to do that, I suggest you email your campsite you're staying at and just ask them what kind of activities you can do during your stay. And this way you also support the local communities because you're gonna book your activities through them. But also don't forget that driving through Namibia is an activity in itself. You're gonna love watching out of sight of your window and see the beautiful nature around you. You're gonna drive almost every day from A to B and you want to take pictures. You will stop because you see wildlife on the side of the road. You maybe want to go take a hike or you decide you want to watch the sunset, and those are all activities that you really cannot plan for. Okay, now it's time to talk about budgeting. Decide on a budget for your entire trip. Think about what you want to spend on the car and the fuel. on accommodation, on activities you want to do, maybe food and drinks, and also think about the extras, like how much you want to spend on souvenirs, for example. For our trip, I broke everything down per day, so that really gave us a good overview of what we were spending per day per category. And I use an app for that that's called Travel Spend, which is free to use and super easy to use also. You just set a budget and you track all your expenses in there, and it shows you exactly where your money is going. And it really helped us to feel on top of our money and know exactly what we are spending it on. A huge tip is to plan some extra budget for unexpected things. For example, we had a flat tire and we drove along with it, so we couldn't fix it anymore. So we had to buy a new tire, which was 160 euros or something. Or maybe you want to do an extra activity. So it's nice to have a little bit of wiggle room in your budget for unexpected things. Budgeting may sound boring, but it's important. When you know your numbers, you can relax and enjoy the adventure without worrying about overspending. Now that you've gathered all the information, the car, the places you want to visit, the distances between those places, where you want to stay, what you want to do, and what your budget is, it's time to finalize your route. Start by planning your days based on realistic driving time, campsite availability, and maybe the activities you want to do there. Now, remember, Namibia is really big, so don't overpack your days. It's better to enjoy a few places than to rush through many. A rule of thumb I always used while I was planning was to stay at every campsite at least 2 nights. Unless we were just passing through, sleeping and moving on the next morning, then 1 night was just fine. But this 2 nights per campsite really gave us time to explore the area, relax a bit, and really enjoy and not feel rushed. If you want to plan exactly which road you want to take from destination A to destination B, then I would highly recommend the Tracks for Africa app. This app shows all the roads in Africa, so also in Namibia, and it specifically says if the road is a tar road or a sand road or a gravel road. So therefore you can really pick your route based on if you want a simple drive or a more adventurous one. Once your route is finalized, you can now book that car and book those campsites. And for everything else, having a flexible plan helps you to adapt along the way. And that's exactly the fun of doing a road trip. And that's it. Now you know exactly how to plan your Namibia road trip all by yourself. Remember, planning your own trip gives you freedom, flexibility, and saves money. But there's nothing wrong if a group tour or a travel agent fits your style better. The most important thing is that you enjoy your adventure and make memories along the way. If you have any questions about planning your Namibia road trip, make sure to ask your question in the description below. I love to help fellow travelers plan their own trips, so I'll be sure to get back to you. And if you like this video, it would make me so happy if you give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.